The next time someone asks you why LGBTQ Pride marches exist, or why Gay Pride Month is June, tell them a bisexual named Brenda Howard thought it should be. Brenda Howard. The Stonewall riots of June 28, 1969 are seen by many as the beginning of the gay civil rights movement. And Brenda Howard, the bisexual activist who organized a series of rallies and events 1 month after the riots and again the following year as the mother of Pride. To be sure, that first fact is where I started as I began preparing for this service. I'd never heard of Brenda Howard before last month. Then I found a website of the Arcus Foundation. I encourage you to look that one up. But on it was an article by Eric Marcus, a gay journalist who began working openly in the late 70s and early 80s with CBS. He enlightened me in his article on the Foundation's website. He has worked for decades to clarify the place of Stonewall in the gay liberation timeline, not at the beginning, but as a flashpoint later on that galvanized the old guard and newly aware during the tumultuous anti-war and civil rights movement of the late 60s. The Mattachine Society, I hope I'm saying that right, was one of the first of the homophile organizations and had been established in major cities like New York and San Francisco in the 1950s and early 60s. These pre-Stonewall activists mounted the first public protests in the mid-60s, including one in Philadelphia on July 4th, 1965, and brought the first legal cases in a world that was hostile to LGBTQ folks in ways that we can hardly imagine today. Marcus calls to mind the image of an open flame and a can of gasoline. There had been fire and anger for years about the mistreatment of the gay community, and some had fought back, but at Stonewall, the gasoline was potent and plentiful, and the fire raged. It took veteran pre-Stonewall activists working alongside newly radicalized young LGBTQ people to channel that energy and anger released at Stonewall into a newly supercharged national movement. The first-year anniversary saw the Christopher Street Liberation March, which followed a rally organized by Brenda Howard. She originated the idea of a week-long series of events surrounding Pride Day, which has spread internationally. She, along with activists Robert A. Martin and L. Craig Schoonmaker, are credited with popularizing the term pride to describe these events. In the 1970s, being out and proud was a revolutionary act. In 1978, San Francisco City Supervisor Harvey Milk, the first openly gay man in that position, recruited Gilbert Baker to create a symbol of pride for the San Francisco Gay Freedom Day Parade. His original design featured 8 colors, each with a meaning: hot pink for sexuality, red for life, orange for healing, yellow for sunlight, green for nature, turquoise for art, indigo for harmony, and violet for spirit. The first flags were hand-dyed and hand-sewn by Baker and 30 volunteers at the Gay Community Center in San Francisco. They were displayed during the parade, marking the first time the rainbow was publicly used as a symbol of LGBTQ. In 1994, to honor the 25th anniversary of Stonewall, Baker achieved a world record with a mile-long banner that was carried by 5,000 people in the New York City Pride Parade. This was when the rainbow flag became mainstream and commercialized. Now, I know that I am speaking to an educated audience and that many of you already knew all of this. And in the continued spirit of preaching to the choir, our favorite thing to do here, I move from the history of Pride to the present and the future. When we leave here today, we will see PFLAG and churches and other mainstream organizations marching for Pride. After so many years and the massive strides our society has taken with the ACLU, Lambda Legal, the Human Rights Campaign, and many other pro-LGBTQ groups, we had come to think that those revolutionary acts were no longer necessary to maintain the rights and freedoms that this community has achieved. But as Reverend Ron and others have reminded us recently here in this space, the revolution must go on. We march today with love, with joy, and with pride, because to do so lets the world know that we won't sit by while hard-fought rights are taken from our friends and our family. All of us who know that love is love must need to show that love wins. Showing up to show our love is how we make sure the powers that be know that we are watching, and we will not be scared into hiding our support for every human to live a full and fulfilling life.